Hospitals have a certain stillness at night. Even when they're full of life, they feel dead, hushed, waiting. The hum of fluorescent lights, the distant beeping of a heart monitor. Footsteps echoing down endless white corridors. The air heavy with antiseptic, always carrying the faintest trace of something else, something metallic, something old. I was still adjusting to it, fresh into my first clinical rotation at St. Thomas's. Just a med student, meant to observe, maybe assist, but never lead. I thought the hardest part of the job would be the long hours, the exhaustion, the occasional emergency. I was wrong. Nothing in my training prepared me for him. I'm writing this from my bedroom, the door locked, my hands shaking so hard I can barely type. There's something in my house. Someone. He moves like an animal, but quieter, more intentional. And I don't know how much longer the door will hold. It started 3 weeks ago. I was shadowing my supervising doctor, Dr. Patel, an old school physician, the kind who wore bow ties and never broke a sweat, even during a code blue. He once told me, "It's not the screamers you worry about, kid. It's the quiet ones, the ones who smile when they shouldn't." I didn't understand what he meant. Not then. My first solo consult was a man listed as Patient 46B. No emergency, no urgent flags, just unexplained bruising. He was already waiting when I entered the exam room. Mid-30s, thin, too pale. Brown hair hanging limp as if it had given up. But it was his eyes that unsettled me. Gray. Not hazel gray, not blue gray, just gray. Flat. Empty, like the surface of a frozen lake. He spoke slowly, politely, his voice low and toneless. Said the bruises had started appearing 3 months ago. Inner thighs, upper arms, spine, the kind you'd expect with abuse or clotting disorder. I examined him. The bruises were there. But they weren't right. No fading at the edges. No yellowing like healing ones. Just pitch black splotches with red pulsing centers, like something inside was trying to get out. "Are you on blood thinners?" I asked. He shook his head. "Any alcohol or substance use?" "Never touched a drop." He smiled. Something about that smile felt wrong, like it didn't belong to his face. I swallowed my unease and wrote it off as immune thrombocytopenia. Gave him a mild steroid prescription and told him to follow up in a week. Probably nothing to worry about. God, I regret those words. He came back 7 days later. Thinner now, eyes darker. Standing in the corner of the consult room, facing the wall. "Lucas." That was the only name he'd given. "You okay?" he whispered. "I hear them now. In the walls. They want out. But they like you." A chill ran up my spine. I glanced at the mirror, half expecting some elaborate psych eval prank. But it was just me, alone, with him. Then he turned. His pupils had swallowed his irises, black voids where his eyes should be. And there was blood under his fingernails. "I don't scratch," he murmured. "They move inside me. I'm not doing it." I referred him to psych immediately. Something wasn't adding up, physically or mentally. "We'll get you seen again soon," I said, trying to sound reassuring. "Just hang in there." He nodded, tilting his head. "You should lock your doors more, especially after dark. You're warm. They'd like to wear you." The next morning, I checked with the psychology department. The secretary frowned. He never showed. Then her expression darkened. "You haven't heard?" "Heard what?" She hesitated. Dr. Patel was found dead, last night, bludgeoned, in his office. My stomach dropped. "They found things," she added quietly. "Blood in places it shouldn't be. symbols carved into the carpet, and something under his fingernails. What? She swallowed. Not human. That was 12 hours ago. I tried to act normal. Finished my shift, took the tram home, kept looking over my shoulder, and now he's here. I came home to darkness. The house should have been warm, familiar. Instead, it felt wrong. I locked the door, flicked on the hallway light. He was on the ceiling, pressed against it like a spider. Barefoot, clothes torn, skin pale, translucent. The bruises had spread, inky veins crawling up his limbs, overtaking his face. But his mouth, that was the worst part. His smile stretched impossibly wide, as if his cheeks were tearing from the force of it. His eyes, completely black now. 2 obsidian marbles reflecting my horror back at me. He didn't speak. He moved, not like a person, like a puppet handled by someone who had never seen a human before. Limbs bending at unnatural angles, slow, jerky, wrong. He crept across the ceiling, toward me. I couldn't scream. My throat locked up. I staggered backward, hands shaking, keys slipping from my grip. He dropped. No sound. Just thud, right in front of the door, blocking my way, head tilted, arms hanging limp, still smiling. I ran, bolted upstairs, locked myself in my bedroom, barricaded the door with a chair and a shelf. I don't know if it will matter. He hasn't spoken once, but he's knocking now. Not on the door, on the walls. Knock, knock, knock. Then silence, then knocking from the other side of the room. And now, I swear to God, I hear him giggling. I called the cops. They said it'd take 30 minutes. I tried to explain. A patient might have murdered someone. He's inside my house. They told me to stay calm, sir. Maybe step outside. I can't. He's everywhere. The lights flicker. My phone battery's at 9%. I hear him in the ceiling now, whispering, dragging something. My name. Doctor. The closet door just creaked. Oh God. It's pitch black in there, but I see something moving. Long limbs that smile. He was never downstairs. He's been in here the whole time. If you ever meet a patient with gray eyes, blood under his nails, and bruises that don't heal, run.